Hello everyone and welcome back to the Blackfoot Book Club and another edition from my essential film reviews collection and another return to 2017, to April 2017 to be exact, and an instant reaction piece that I wrote after first watching this absolute gem for the first time. I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, directed by Macon Blair. Winner of the Grand Jury Prize at the Sundance Film Festival in January 2017 and released exclusively via Netflix the following month, I watched Macon Blair's directorial debut purely by happy accident after listening to the film's co-star Elijah Wood in an entertaining podcast interview on Nerdist.com, and I was rather pleased that I did, as this film is a true gem and highly recommended. Supported by numerous important cameo performances from Gary Anthony Williams as highly strung police detective William Bendix, Lee Eddy as Angie, and Michelle Moreno as her young daughter Jana, they are joined by a gaggle of further supporting performances, even the debut writer himself as a bar dude, as well as crucial portrayals from Christine Woods as a hilariously bored housewife, Meredith Rumack, Robert Longstreet as her aloof husband Chris Rumack, and their nefarious son Christian, played well by Devon Graye. However, ostensibly, this charmingly off-kilter and awkwardly funny comedic drama is a two-hander with two sublime central performances from Melanie, Lynskey and Elijah Wood in a film of a simple yet effective premise. The victim of a burglary seeks the return of her property and satisfying retribution for the distressed cause, however, and in so doing, wreaks havoc all along the way. Ruth Melanie Lynskey. Depressed and lost in a fog of melancholia, Ruth is totally at odds with the world around her. Living in a rundown house and working as a nursing assistant, she drinks heavily to blank out a world that is passing her by, and a world in which she is constantly irritated and exasperated by. Ruth is socially awkward and often lost in faraway wistful stares into the distance, but it's evidently clear that she has a heart of gold and above all an altruistic nature, but life has conspired to see that she has lost sight of both. Ruth feels to me like a caged bird, desperate for meaningful social interaction, but downtrodden and at odds with life, as on the one hand she talks of the beauty of the universe and that we are all made of carbon and stardust, and yet she views the people she meets and those around her as fuckfaces, and the way people treat each other is disgusting. When Ruth returns home to find that she's been burgled, she has inadvertently stumbled upon a new purpose in life to track down those responsible and the return of her property, and never has the world seemed so exciting to this amateur vigilante. Ruth grows along with the film as we see far more sides to her nature than is first apparent, and this is to the great credit of writer-director Macon Blair, and importantly the portrayal from Melanie Lynskey, which ranges from heartbreaking to joyous, tragic to triumphant, and Lynskey deserves enormous praise for a portrayal that will draw so much sympathy from his audience. Tony, Elijah Wood. Neighbour of Ruth's and an almost mirror of her social awkwardness and inability to fit in the world that surrounds him, Tony takes comfort in heavy metal music, a fascination with the dark arts of kung fu, and his dog, Kevin. Tony is a conflicted social being, quietly passive-aggressive as well as full-on hyper-antagonistic, and a perfect foil for his newfound friend and neighbour. Clad in oversized glasses and sporting a beard and a rat tail, Elijah Wood is almost unrecognisable in his role as Tony, and with a performance that proves he is far from the stereotyped and one-dimensional character actor he is often unfairly being labelled as. His performance here reminds me of the shadowy and awkward portrayals he excelled with as Kevin in Sin City or Patrick in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and his portrayal of Tony here is in the same exalted company. The film starts out from a simple premise of retribution and revenge, and of gaining a semblance of sanity and order in the world but soon comically escalates until a third act that takes a left turn into the surreal and macabre. But if you suspend your disbelief and go with the story, you may be pleasantly surprised. I loved this film for a variety of reasons: the about turn in the narrative as loosely described above, the brilliantly comedic screenplay epitomised by Ruth's rant about the world to young child Jana, whose startled expression is absolutely priceless, and a cast of oddball characters with whom I saw so much of myself in every one of them. From Ruth's antipathy at the world to Detective Bendix's need for rules to be strictly followed, through to Tony's awkward tiptoeing through a life that perplexes him. Part comedy, part drama, and with a large dose of the macabre to finish with, I smiled all the way through this brilliant film that has a beautiful soundtrack accompanying two sublime central performances. And that was I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, directed by Macon Blair, from 2017. And I leave you in peace and in solidarity. And I thank you as ever for watching. And I hope you're well, and I hope everything is great with you in the world. Thanks very much for watching. Peace, everyone.